Hello, it's Marcus here from BSVsearch.com. Over the last few weeks, I've been experimenting with something that I find very exciting: Web3 websites. By Web3 websites, I mean websites whose files are stored on the blockchain. So instead of only hosting the website on a normal server, the website itself or parts of it can be inscribed on-chain. And it's not just on any blockchain. I only mean the BSV, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, Bitcoin SV blockchain. To understand why that matters, it helps to compare Web 1.0, Web 2.0, and Web 3.0. Web 1 was mostly static. You had HTML, CSS, which is the file for styling, and JavaScript, which is some interaction with your mouse and with elements of the website. But it has no database behind the website. The files were published and people could open them with an internet browser, and that was basically it. They would see what content had been decided by the website owner for them to see. Web 2.0 is different. Most websites that you use today are Web 2.0. They're connected to databases. When you write a comment, when you submit it and it appears on the page, that is Web 2.0. When you click a like button and the heart icon changes, that is Web 2.0, because a database records that action, it stores it, and lets the website respond to what users are doing. Web 3, at least in the way that I'm exploring it here, is different again. Instead of using a database as the main place where the website's content lives, we can store the website's files on the blockchain. The Web 3 files do not update in the usual way. Once something is inscribed, it becomes static. You can't change it anymore. It's there, and it cannot simply be changed later like a normal file on a server with no consequences. That limitation is also what makes it interesting, because with a normal website, you have ongoing costs. You need a domain name, and you usually need to renew it every year. You need hosting, and hosting is usually paid monthly. For a small business, the hosting might be around $20 per month, depending on what the site does. If it is a simple bakery website, for example, where the bakery uses the website to accept orders and they have a form there, that doesn't need much hosting. But the basic idea is still the same. You have to keep paying to keep the website online. With a static website on the blockchain, the model changes. You can inscribe the website, and once it is there, the content can remain available for as long as the blockchain remains available and readable. That doesn't mean that every type of website should be built this way. It means you have to think carefully about what is worth inscribing, because every inscription costs money, well, a few cents. And the blockchain is not something you use casually for every small update. It's a bit like, nowadays communication is cheap. So for example, you can just write any text message. Yo, what's up, right? And you would do that, and you don't think much of it. But back in the day, for example, you'd read letters of how people wrote to each other, centuries ago, where they could only afford to send a letter every 3 months or so, right? And people wrote differently because they know that this is going to be the chance that they'll have for until the next time, and that could be a while. So they thought things through. They made sure that what they said mattered. They made sure that it is what they intend to say. So that's a little bit of a difference. Now, the question that I keep coming back to is, what is worth preserving? One answer for me is EarthLog. EarthLog is a project I've wanted to build for a long time. The idea is to tell the story of humanity as we currently understand it. The origin of the universe, the origin of life, the evolution from single-celled organisms to multicellular organisms, the radiation of life into many forms, and eventually the arrival of human beings. That is a huge story. Scientists know parts of it very well, but most people don't really know the full arc of it. And I think it matters because it explains so much about us. It explains how we got here, why the world looks the way it does, and why human beings are the way we are. Most of us alive today were born within the last 100 years. Many of us were born within the last 50. We arrive on this earth in the middle of this enormous story. And often we never stop to ask what came before us. What brought us here? How did we arrive at this point? And this is what EarthLog is about. I want to tell that story and inscribe it on the blockchain so it can be accessible to people now, but also to whoever may find it far in the future. Maybe that's 50 years from now, maybe 500 years, maybe 1,000 years, maybe even 1,000,000 years from now. If human beings are still here, perhaps they will read it. If we are not, maybe artificial intelligence will have evolved enough to understand it. Either way, if I can leave behind a record of what we currently understand about ourselves, our world, and our origins, I think that has value. That is the deeper reason why I'm interested in putting something like EarthLog on the blockchain. It is not just a website, it is a record of our civilization, a snapshot into our lives today. But I also wanted to test what is possible in a more practical way. So I built another example, a music website. I call it Marquez.web3. This website is for a musician, or really for a hobbyist musician. In this case, it features my own work. When I was younger, I played guitar, tried to sing, recorded song ideas, and wrote music. I used my music as the example because that makes the website real. It is not a sample. It is a real website with real music. The site lets people look at album images. They can play the songs, they can download them, or they can even license the music for a project, such as a film, video, or commercial. The sound files are already inscribed on the BSV blockchain, so people can listen to them and download them from there. I also built the payment side in a way that lets me understand what people are doing. So for each song, I use a different BSV pay address for different actions. There is one address for tips, there's another address for downloads, and one if people want to license it. This matters because it gives me analytics. If money ever comes in, I can tell where it came from. I can tell what song. I can tell which songs they came from. Were they tips? Were they downloads? Were they because people wanted to tip me, which means they just want to support me? Or did they actually want to download the music and listen to them? Or are there many of them that's actually using it for commercial purposes for their projects? And which song was it connected to? Are people responding more to songs from one collection, one album like Reasonism, or was it another set of songs like the first chapter? Using different addresses makes the activity easier to understand. If licensing starts getting attention, maybe I should focus more on licensing. If downloads are more popular, then maybe people simply want to keep the songs on their own devices. And if tips are more common, then maybe people mainly want to support the work and me. The payments are not only revenue, they are also information. This is why using one Bitcoin address for everything is probably not the best approach. It is simpler, but it hides useful information. With separate addresses, you can classify the activity and study it later. In this music example, even a small catalog creates a lot of addresses. There's 14 songs with 3 possible actions. Each already means dozens of addresses to track. 42 to be exact. That sounds like a lot, but with tools like ElectrumSV, I showed you in another video how you can work with multiple addresses. It makes it manageable. You can work with many BSV addresses and private keys at once. You can import them, check the balances. You can isolate each one to see the activities. You can even export the information into a spreadsheet for analysis. So these two projects show two different sides of the same idea. EarthLog is about permanence. It is about preserving a meaningful record for people today and perhaps for readers far in the future. The music website is about utility. It's about use. It's about practical use. It shows that you can place images, play audio, offer downloads, accept tips, sell licenses, and use Bitcoin addresses as part of the analytics of the website. And together, they point to something bigger. People often think of Bitcoin. Now, when I say Bitcoin, again, I'm not talking about BTC, the one that costs about $60,000 now. I'm talking about Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, BSV, the one that costs about $15 now. People often think of Bitcoin as digital cash, and cash is an important use. But Bitcoin is also a data system. It is a way to store, organize, and retrieve information. That is what makes this so powerful. I'm working on several different projects because I do not yet know which use case will connect with people most strongly today. I do not know who will discover BSV through these examples or who might build something much bigger and better with it. But by trying projects in different industries and with different use cases, we can start to demonstrate what BSV can actually do. So for now, I wanted to show you the vision, static websites on the blockchain, permanent content that's unchangeable, real media, real payments, and real use cases. In the next video, I will go through how I built these websites, including the tips and tricks and the decisions I've made along the way while putting these websites together. I will show you how the pieces come together and how you can make a website work this way on the blockchain. The websites are earthlog.web3 and marquez.web3. To view this, because it's on the blockchain, you have to view it with a special type of browser that actually can dig into the BSV blockchain to present the website to you. So I'm going to put the full link down below, or it's probably showing on your screen now, so you can go to them and browse them. Let me know what you think. Are there ideas that you've got that could be useful on the blockchain? Are there things you are excited to see built on the blockchain? Put your thoughts in the comments. Before you go, I'd like you to like this video if you like it, subscribe to the channel, and if you find this useful, you can also tip the video. Thank you to the people who have been tipping me. I use those tips in BSVs to buy domain names and inscribe these projects on the blockchain. The songs, for example, cost money to inscribe it. It is not much per song, but they do add up. Still, once it is paid for, the content is there permanently. That is one of the things I like about this model. With normal projects, life can get in the way. You lose focus, you get busy. You may not have the discipline to keep maintaining everything forever. That is a reality. But if something meaningful is already inscribed, it has a chance to remain there even when your attention moves temporary elsewhere. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch up with you next time. Cheers. This is Marquez from BSV Search, Marquez Web3, and EarthLog.web3. Cheers. Thanks. Bye-bye.